Life has a way of throwing us into roles we never anticipated. You weren't looking to be anyone's lesson, but life chose you. People underestimated your strength, mistook your kindness for weakness, and exploited your patience as a license to push boundaries. But what they didn't realize is that God saw everything. He didn't just watch silently. He chose you as the instrument to reveal a truth they'd been running from. Your quiet resolve, the moments you chose grace over retaliation, and the times you held your tongue when provoked, they weren't signs of submission. They were signs of a deeper strength, a strength that didn't come from you, but through you. God's strength. You were the mirror they avoided looking into, reflecting every crack in their inflated egos. And that mirror was about to shatter their illusions. The people who challenged you were wrapped in their pride, fueled by their narcissism, believing the world owed them everything. Their arrogance convinced them they were untouchable, invincible. They manipulated, lied, and built empires of deceit, all while dismissing those who dared to question their authority. But here's the truth about pride. It blinds. It blinds people to their own flaws and makes them deaf to the warnings of collapse. And while they were busy playing their games, God was preparing you, quietly, diligently. You became the seed of their eventual lesson, planted in the soil of their arrogance. They thought they were untouchable, but God was about to touch their hearts in ways they could never have anticipated. Through you. There comes a moment when God steps in. It's subtle at first. The cracks begin to form, small, almost imperceptible. The manipulations that once worked effortlessly start to falter. The power they thought they held begins to slip through their fingers. And then they encounter you. You see, your resilience was never about showing off or proving a point. It was about standing firm in the truth. They mocked you, dismissed you, and tried to undermine you. But every jab they threw your way only made you stronger. Every attempt to break you was met with a strength they couldn't comprehend. Because that strength wasn't yours alone. It was divine. And in that moment, when they realized they couldn't shake you, their pride began to falter. The weight of their own actions started to bear down on them. It wasn't your words that broke them, it was your unwavering spirit. Humility doesn't come easily to the proud. For someone wrapped in their own ego, it feels like a defeat. But God's humbling isn't about destruction. It's about transformation. And that's exactly what began to unfold. They started to see the truth. Their manipulations didn't weaken you. They revealed your strength. Their arrogance didn't overshadow you. It highlighted your grace, and their attempts to elevate themselves only exposed the depth of their insecurity. It was as if a veil had been lifted. The persona they'd carefully constructed began to crumble, and for the first time they were forced to confront their own reflection. Not the inflated version they'd clung to, but the truth of who they'd become. and that truth was undeniable. While God was working on them, He was also working on you. The battles you faced, the challenges they threw your way were refining you. Every insult, every manipulation, every moment of doubt was like a hammer shaping steel. It hurt, yes, but it didn't destroy you. It transformed you. You began to see yourself differently, no longer as the victim of their actions, but as a vessel of God's purpose. You realized that their attempts to control you were powerless against the plan God had for your life. And with every step forward, you shed the weight of their words, their judgments, and their attempts to define you. You became unshakable, not because of what you endured, but because of how you chose to rise from it. And in rising, you became the very thing they feared most, proof that their power was an illusion. When God humbles someone, it's not about punishment, it's about revelation. And the proud, those who thought they could bend the world to their will, were forced to see what true strength looks like. It doesn't shout or boast. It doesn't manipulate or control. True strength stands firm, rooted in purpose and faith. They saw it in you, the way you carried yourself, the way you refused to retaliate, the way you let your actions speak louder than their words. It was a quiet power, but it was undeniable. And it was through that power that God revealed the truth to them. Their pride was their downfall, and their narcissism was their prison. They learned, not through your words, but through your example, that humility isn't a weakness, it's a strength. And in seeing that strength in you, they were forced to confront their own weaknesses. The journey didn't end there. The lesson God taught them wasn't a one-time event. It was the start of a transformation. And while their path is their own to walk, you were the catalyst for change. But what about you? What happens after the lesson is taught? You move forward. You let go of the hurt, the betrayal, and the pain they caused. Not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. God isn't finished with you. This was just one chapter in a much larger story. A story of redemption, resilience, and purpose. The trials you faced weren't meant to break you. They were meant to prepare you. And now, you're ready for what's next. God's plans are always greater than we can imagine. What you endured wasn't just about teaching them a lesson. It was the divine refining process, sculpting you into the person you were destined to become. Every tear you shed, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt was part of a grander design. It wasn't just about humbling the proud. It was about lifting you to heights you couldn't have dreamed of. The people who underestimated you believed they held all the cards. They thought their manipulation, lies, and schemes gave them power. But God, in His infinite wisdom, turned their own arrogance into a stage for His glory. He flipped the script, using their attempts to break you as tools to build you stronger. Every insult became a stepping stone, every betrayal a lesson, and every failure a foundation. And now, as you look back, you realize something profound. profound. It was never really about them. They were pawns in a divine game, used to highlight his power and sharpen your resolve. Their attacks weren't just an assault on you, they were a challenge to God's plan. And he answered that challenge by using you as an example of his justice, grace, and strength. You see, the greater plan wasn't just about their fall. It was about your rise. Every time they doubted you, God believed in you. Every time they tried to silence you, he gave you a louder voice. Every time they shut a door, he opened another one. Bigger, better, and beyond what you could have imagined. And now, as you stand on the other side of the storm, you understand. The struggle wasn't to punish you, but to prepare you. God's plan isn't just about survival. It's about triumph. It's about turning pain into purpose, wounds into wisdom, and setbacks into setups for comebacks. The trials you faced were not random acts of cruelty. They were deliberate steps in a journey that only he could design. And now, you walk with a strength that can't be shaken, a faith that can't be broken, and a purpose that shines brighter than ever. You've learned that humility isn't weakness, it's strength under control. You've seen that real power comes from surrendering to a higher calling, and you've discovered that your value doesn't come from the approval of others, but from the unshakable truth of who you are in God's eyes. So, what's next? The journey isn't over. There will be new battles, new lessons, and new victories. But this time you face them with the confidence of someone who knows the truth. You know that every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Every obstacle is a chance to showcase his power, and every moment is part of a greater story, a story of redemption, resilience, and revelation. As you move forward, remember this. You were chosen for a purpose far beyond yourself. You were God's instrument of humility, a living reminder that no one is above his authority. And while their narcissism may have been deflated, your spirit was elevated. You're not just a survivor. You're a testament to the power of faith, the resilience of the human spirit, and the brilliance of God's plan. And the best part? The story isn't finished. The best is yet to come. Keep moving forward. Keep trusting in his plan. Keep shining as his light. For the greater plan is unfolding, and you are a vital part of it.